Circuit Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Wally Eckman presiding. And now we start the investiture of the Honorable James Wipf Pfeifle. Thank you.
Those of you who are in attendance here today, including honored guests, of which we have a number, retired Justice John Conenkamp and his wife Jerry, retired Circuit Judges Thomas Trimble, who I see flipping through the crowd, and Judge Warren Johnson, also retired, Judge Gazinti, Randall Lindgren, Second Circuit Douglas Hoffman, from the Fifth Circuit Judge Brown, as well as a number of other magistrate judges, Judge Strong from the Fourth Circuit, and Judge Brown from the Seventh Circuit. I may have missed some that slipped in on me. You are certainly all welcome. At this time, we'll have the national anthem, and this is going to be played by a string quartet, which includes Dan Pfeifle, Alex Bachwick, Tom Pfeifle, and Ann Pfeifle. Please stand. This time, I'll introduce Pastor Bruce Thallacher of South Canyon Lutheran Church, who will provide you.
Thank you, Judge Beckman. I'm honored to be here. Very honored. comment, Jane. When Jane asked me to speak, I thought, how did I know Jane? Well, I was in law school with Jane. I saw her graduate. I was at her wedding. I had flown in a helicopter over Palm Springs. I played tennis with her in Tucson. I tried a case with her before the Rosebud Court. We've been through quite a bit, and I feel like family. I'm happy to sit in the family side with you today. I don't need to spend any time reminding this audience of your abilities that you're going to bring. We at Lynn Jackson are going to miss your abilities. I think society gains by Lynn Jackson's loss. Congratulations on it. On the way over, my partner John reminds me that he had never heard any remarks at an investiture that were too short. But I still can't resist at least noting the advice that I came up with. First, my advice to those of you who will be practicing before Jane. I know a little bit about her abilities. My first piece of advice is please demand the best of yourselves, because Jane will demand the best of you. My second piece of advice is please help Jane be right. Your job as officers of the court are not necessarily to win. It's to help the decision be right. So please help her be right. Help her earn that first A for affirmance in no time at all. I know that's a mark that all judges consider very important. And third, be sure to laugh. Remember, the judges' jokes are always fun. Please don't isolate her. I think that's one of the biggest criticisms I hear about from judges, is they feel isolated once they take the bench. Please don't put her in that position. Keep her a part of your family. I'm also going to give Jane some advice. Can't pass the opportunity. One is please continue to demand the best of yourself. You always have. I know you will. Secondly, please continue to exhibit humanity. Please be patient with those of us who have the foibles of our own humanity and may not live up to the standards we all wish to. Your job is to please be patient with us. Third is to please exhibit courage. You now take the place that you stand between the mightiest and the weakest in society, and both sides need your help. And third, I always remember the first time I heard the light bulb joke about how many judges does it take to screw in a light bulb. I was clerking at the time and found it very appropriate that the answer is only one. They just hold the bulb, and the world will revolve around. Jane, you'll look good in black, but please don't forget where you came from. Thank you for taking the bench. Thank you for the service you're going to give us all. As I say, we of Lynn Jackson especially will miss you.
This time, the Pfeifle family, I believe, is going to participate in giving Jane her rose.
Yes, special music.
Oh, okay. We'll now proceed with the roving ceremony participated in.
It's my privilege to be the judicial officer who gets to swear Jane in. I'm going to take quite a privilege to make a few remarks. Alan noted how well he knew Jane. I suspect you might guess I know her just a tiny bit better. At least I hope so.
You were there every time.
I too have flown in a helicopter over Palm Springs. My experience wasn't as pleasurable as either Jane's or Ellen's. Nor were those folks who were riding with me at the time. Because I know Jane so well, I know how fortunate the Seventh Circuit is to have her join us here as a judge. We all know that the definition of a win-win scenario is that everyone receives a favorable result. People in the state of South Dakota receive a favorable result by this action today. I personally receive a favorable result by this action today because I get a chance once again to work side by side daily with Jane, and that is a great privilege, both professionally and personally for me. Perhaps the only one who may suggest that this isn't a favorable result is Jane, who now comes into this position knowing that I'm the presiding judge. I suspect a transfer request to the Fourth Circuit and Judge Jane is shortly coming. It has been said that the trial judge is the pillar of the judicial system, that virtually irreproachable conduct is required by a judicial officer, Judges are expected to be wise beyond measure, to be paragons of integrity, to know about the law, to research the law, to provide well-reasoned opinions, to be patient in the face of trial, to be fair in all circumstances, to be impeccable in their personal lives, and to have a heart as big as those who need that assistance and appear in front of them. I can't think of anyone else who exhibits those qualities, and we are absolutely beyond measure thrilled to have Jane with us and to have her as our next 7th Circuit Judge. It is my great pleasure to administer the oath of office. I'll ask you to place your right hand on the Bible and repeat after me. I, Jane Wipf Pfeifle, do solemnly swear I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of South Dakota, that I will faithfully discharge the duties of Judge of the 7th Judicial Circuit Court of South Dakota. Congratulations. We have a long-standing tradition here in the 7th Circuit to provide our incoming judge with some tools of her trade. I will indicate for those of you who might be worried about it, particularly the candidates for our 8th position, which we hope to have filled here shortly, that the hug that goes along with the swearing in will not happen. First thing that I'd like to present to Jane this afternoon is a gavel. That gavel is engraved with your name, your date of investiture, and we hope that you get to use it sparingly.
Thank you.
The second thing, and this is a gift from all the judges in the circuit, and one in which we make sure that the new judge receives, and that we give very gladly, which is your calendar, which already has a number of hearings placed on it.
Welcome.
Well, thank you, Judge Pfeifle. Pastor Bruce, thank you so much for being here, Reverend Tubles, and honoring all of you. Al, thank you for your remarks. I'm so honored by your presence, and I'm just enormously grateful. Many of you might know that I'm a fan of Google Scholar. I've talked about it before. When you go to the webpage, it invites you to stand on the shoulders of giants. And the last couple months, I've been thinking about that a lot. And many of you scientists likely know that that phrase comes from a letter Sir Isaac Newton wrote in 1676 to another scientist, Robert Hooke. And Newton was saying, you know, any accomplishment I have comes from the work of others, and that I am indebted to them. And I've been mindful of that, and thinking that all of us owe a tremendous debt to others, and that we've all had to stand on the shoulders of giants. And I particularly feel today that I've done that, and I've been so privileged. I was raised in a home where hard work was modeled and expected. My mother, Mary Louise, is here today with me. My folks like to travel. They like to be outdoors. the generations. My dad practiced law for 50 years, and had he been privileged to live to see this day, he would, in the words of Greg Eastland, be all puffed up like a big poison toad. He would like nothing better than to see his grandkids and to see my husband and all of my surviving siblings here. I owe a debt to my incredible siblings, my sister Paige, who hears the absolute best and worst from me and loves me all the same. My brothers, David and James, and Paige and James brought their families with them too. There's no one quite like a brother who can kind of sit you right down and tell you the hard truth that needs to be said, and then make it laugh out loud. My mother-in-law and my brother-in-law, Betty and David Pfeifle, are here. I could not have been more fortunate to marry into the Pfeifle family. I would like to easier to pronounce last name, but I'm indebted to the judges before and with whom I clerked. Judge Hoffman is here. He and I had the great privilege to clerk with Judge Jones, and we learned a lot, and we had a great opportunity. There's so many judges here that I am so happy to see, and who, when you come before a judge, from my perspective, and they're of good cheer and exercise patience, and they've read what you've done and demonstrate such strong legal abilities, it's astounding. And I feel so fortunate where I practiced to have been the recipient of that. And I really have a tremendous role models and roadmap to follow. I'm grateful to those of you in the Seventh Circuit and the Fourth that are with me and today, and who have indicated such welcomeness and willingness to help me. I was frankly a little dumbfounded. I'll take the bench book lesson. But I'll be through it, I promise. A debt I really cannot repay is to my law firm, Lynn Jackson, Schultz, LeBron, with whom I've been associated for 29 years. When I came, excellence was the watchword, and it persists today. And when we talk about work and family life balance, I don't know any place that has modeled that and done it as strongly. I was able to take a sabbatical. I was asked Don Schultz if I could take a leave of absence, and he said, "How long do you want to be gone?" And I said, "Gosh, I don't know, a year?" And he said, "How would you know today how long you need to be gone?" And he was right. And I wanted another baby, and I wanted to be home, and it made it happen. And when I came back, they welcomed me back. And I lack words to say how grateful I am for that opportunity that I had. I'm indebted to the Oglala Sioux Nation, where I served on the Supreme Court. I had the opportunity and privilege to sit with them with the tribal council, to practice in the courts. I practiced in Rosebud. I treasure that experience that I've had. I'm thankful to my clients, who I see many here today, and for trusting me with the most challenging of matters, and personal and difficult matters, and really made my work interesting every single day. I had clients say to me one time, "Jane, when you say interesting, I'm very expensive." I stand today on the shoulders of my friends. Oh gosh, so many of you are here. My best buddy from college, Karen Lindblom, who is married to the lieutenant governor. My colleagues from law school. So many of you from my neighborhood and my church and PEO and my thetas and my nonprofits and my bridge club and my book club and bells. My colleagues that I practice with and against, I love it to look out here and see you. I hold a huge obligation to our kids. Amanda has come from the East Coast, Anne has come from the West Coast, Daniel and Tom, our youngest, happened to be here. This was the only day in the entire summer that all 4 children could be here, so our life revolves around those children, and this was the day. We find our children to be, And we have the First Amendment rule in our house. You can say whatever you wanted to us as long as it was polite. And gosh, they felt completely free to use that. We look at each other sometimes and just can't imagine how we were so fortunate to parent these 4 kids. But you know, the biggest giant in my life, of course, is my husband. We tell our kids quite a bit that the single most important decision you will make that will impact your career, your economic situation, your happiness, your health, will be who you choose for your lifetime partner. And if I ever made any decision, that was the one. And my husband's support is unflinching, and his capacious love for me and for our children is just without measure, and I'm so grateful. And as he said, we're delighted to work together again. I have these giants that have helped me and through so much experience and knowledge and given me the capacity to feel comfortable that perhaps I could do this job. But what I'm really looking forward to the giants to come. Those of you that will appear before me and that are going to do justice. And I am coming to public service now humbled by what so many have given. And those of you that devote some of your career, all of your career, to public service, to see that people in the public defender's office, or the state's attorney, or the clerks, the court service officer, law enforcement, to see that justice is done in our community. April, and he called out of the blue to me. It seemed out of the blue. I had to put my head between my knees before I could talk, and it's glad it wasn't like a Skype or something. So I've been thinking about what is it I want to do, and in our family we have a mission statement. So many of us in organizations have mission statements, and ours comes from Craig's dad, Pfeifle, who is no longer with us. And his is run through the tape, and our children all happen to be runners, and those of you who remember used to be that in fact a track athlete would run through the tape and that person would be the winner. And so it suggests that it isn't enough just to get up close, but you have to all of your energies and go forward. And that's our mission statement. So I thought, gosh, maybe I need a mission statement for this job to ensure that I do it the right way. And I've given it a lot of thought. And finally thought, gosh, that's Socrates. He is so smart. And so I decided Socrates was my mission statement. And he says that there are 4 things that belong at judges' obligations. And they are to hear courteously, to answer wisely, to consider soberly, and to decide impartially. I commit to you that I will work every day to uphold those. I don't know that I can do it, succeed every day, but I'll work for it. It's just my great, great privilege, and I am so humbled to serve you in the state of South Dakota. Thank you.
Reception at the atrium of the Holiday Inn. You are all invited.
Little music.
Yeah. I keep leaving that out.